Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in for our segment for Talking Thursdays. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for watching, and go ahead and take a couple of seconds to subscribe to my channel so that you can get updates and alerts of the different diverse content that I post on my YouTube channel to raise deaf awareness, deaf culture, different things about American Sign Language, things of that nature. So today for Talking Thursday, I wanted to invite my good friend out, Tarek. Tarek is a photographer and he has a huge background in music. Yes. And I actually taught him some basics in American Sign Language of how to communicate with deaf people. And so he learned a lot, and I really wanted to bring him on so that he can go ahead and talk about his experience, what he's learned, and just different things like that. So his website for photography, what's your website?
Yes, it is www.photographybytarik.net. That's photography by Tarik.net. And then my Instagram is also photography by Tarik. Once again, photography by Tarik.
So go ahead and check him out if you're interested in, having some pictures taken, or, if you just want to stalk his Instagram or whatever the case, he's all for it.
That too is an option. A little less popular option, but an option nonetheless.
Got it. So I have here a couple of questions I'm just going to ask you. Yes. So the first question is, before gaining knowledge about deaf culture, what was the first thing that came to mind when you heard the word deaf or when you heard the word American Sign Language?
Right, so when I first heard the word deaf, I thought of it mostly as like a disability or a disadvantage, and didn't think too much about the advantages that could come with that, such as the wonderful deaf culture that exists in the world. And then ASL, I always thought of it just as another language, not as something rather, but something that has science behind it, that has research behind it, that has a good, strong foundation, and it should be respected and admired.
And this is what you thought about the word ASL before even having knowledge about American Sign Language. I think that's really cool, because a lot of times hearing people who don't have any type of connection or whatever with the deaf community, oftentimes when they hear the word ASL, they look at that as something like, oh, that's something that deaf people do because they can't talk. Right. Or that's something that deaf people do because they can't hear. That's the only means that they have of like their perception behind it. Right. So not many people really take out the time to say, hey, this is an actual language, like you said, that has history behind it or research behind it and a development like any other language that is spoken. So I think that's really cool. The next question is, what piqued your interest in having a desire to learn ASL?
Well, the main thing is a good friend of ours, mutual friend named Jordan. She was posting about you on Facebook and about a class that you were teaching. And I was like, hey, I want to learn. I couldn't do the weekend classes, though, so we spoke about doing the individual classes. And so I did that, but the main thing, I guess, was a Facebook post. And I was very geeked about it and so excited you decided to take me on and teach me a couple things,
That's cool. So sometimes I teach workshops, and I also teach one-on-one clientele. So if you're interested about learning more about American Sign Language, learning the culture, I'm sure there's some information somewhere at the bottom of this the video. At the bottom of the video.
Right here, somewhere.
So the third question, what is one thing you learned about deaf culture? Like one thing that, not about the language, but about the actual culture.
Right. Well, one of the main things is that it is such an established culture. Something that, you don't know too much about unless you're exposed to it or decide to take interest in it. Another thing is like when a deaf student is late to class, that it's customary that they would explain why, sign why they were late. Whereas for hearing students, if we're late to class, we just show up and sit down and dare you to ask us why we're late, essentially. So I found that to be a very cool juxtaposition, and I really enjoyed that fact.
That's actually really interesting. That's a lot of people's favorite things, or not favorite, but more of like, are you serious type thing, because you really get to see how opposite the culture is, because, in hearing culture, we pride privacy. Right, and so for a teacher to be like, why are you late? It's like, I'm sorry.
Like, why are you late?
I pay your salary. I already paid my tuition. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And then it's rude to interrupt the teacher in hearing culture. Like, it's appropriate that if you're late, you are quiet, be as quiet as you can, taking out your notes, materials, whatever the case. It's rude to make a noise, versus in the deaf community, they value information. They, you know, they need to know what's going on because they can't hear what's going on.
Right.
So
yeah.
to know like, oh, why are you late? Oh, I'm late because, you know, it was traffic or this and that. Like, it's really rude in their culture to walk in and act as if nothing happened. You know, one thing they do not do is ignore elephants in the room. Like,
Right.
So that's cool. Before gaining knowledge about deaf culture, what were some stupid questions that you had that you became enlightened on?
Yeah, I think. Let me see. I think the number one stupid question I had.
You gotta put it in quotes because there's no
Right.
stupid questions.
Right, no stupid questions. Was if all I was under the impression that all deaf people could read lips, like that was just something that everyone did and did it well, and I was sadly mistaken. Well, not sadly, but I was wrong. Let's say that much. So I remember asking you, like, all deaf people can read lips, right? And you were like, not so much. So,
Right, that actually is a huge misconception that
Right, yeah.
all deaf people can read lips. The best lip reader can only really catch about 40% of what the person who's speaking saying, because you have to take into account, for one, we talk fast.
yeah.
A lot of times when we speak, the words in our mouth look alike, like T, D.
Right.
You know, how do
yeah.
I know that you said top instead of, you know, dop? I know dop is not a word,
Right.
but
No, it is today. It's fine.
it is today. Okay. And so a lot of times the deaf person is left to fill in those gaps
Yeah.
of the conveyed message. And a lot of times if somebody is hard of hearing, and I guess reading lips can go into a play there, because even the stuff that you miss in your residual hearing, you kind of like heard a sound, which gives you a bit more of an advantage than the person who was profoundly deaf, I suppose. Right. But yeah, that is another thing that people are like, wait, what? All deaf people don't read lips? What? I think when I first learned that, I don't think I was necessarily shocked, but I think because that's what was put out there, when I learned it, it was more of like, oh, that's cool.
Right.
I don't think for me it was more of like, oh, I'm stunned or something. I don't know. I don't remember. I've been at this for a while. Right. Okay, last question. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being not as important and 5 being very important, how crucial is it to be intentional in including deaf people in the hearing world, and why?
I will take 11 for 500. It is very important. Like, you know, the reality is nobody in any group likes to be left out. Whether you're hearing, deaf, male, female, black, white, small child, grown up, nobody likes to be left out.
Right.
And I think it's especially important to include people who feel disenfranchised and who have a voice, but it's not heard.
Right.
And who have things to say, you know, but those things, again, are not heard. So it's extremely important. And I'm so glad that I took that first step to take the class with you and to learn some stuff, you know, become enlightened and become more appreciative of this culture that's out there. So I encourage you to do that.
I'm sorry,
people.
I interrupted him.
It's fine. I encourage everybody watching, please learn more about deaf culture, American Sign Language. If you haven't, you will love it. If not, go get checked out.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But what was the story that you were telling me, that after taking the course, because after talking about how important it is to be included, like just that example of this is why it's important.
Right. So I was working my job and I ran into a lady who was deaf, and I've met other people who were deaf before I took Bree's course, and could never really get them excited about the interaction as much. I can be patient with them. I can write down stuff and we can communicate. But I had a lady come in and she was deaf and she was trying to communicate, and I was able to like kind of small talk with her. Very small talk. Very, very small talk. But still got her excited. I was able to communicate with her that I was learning ASL. Was able to sign some stuff. My favorite sign being forgot, because I always did forget stuff. But she was really thrilled about it, and she loved the idea that I was taking the time out to learn it and, you know, take an interest in it. So I told Bree, and Bree was just ecstatic. She did a backflip off the wall, I think. Something like that.
It was something like that.
Yeah.
I'm shocked I didn't break my back afterwards from my excitement. But, you know, that's just really, by you knowing a little bit, it really touched her and it changed her. Because I know one of my professors, he's deaf, and he shared with me that every time he goes to Walmart, the greeter guy does not greet him. He'll greet everyone else, and as soon as he sees him, he kind of goes like, and like goes around him to greet the other people who can respond to him. And my teacher is like, okay, how do you exclude me? Right. Your job is to greet. Everybody. I understand. Like I can understand that means welcome, whether I can hear or not.
Yeah, in any language.
Everybody can understand. Well, it depends, because in some countries, smiling is kind of frowned upon, but in America here,
I got you. No, for sure.
And so, but everybody can understand that here in America, and so that really broke my heart, because I think a lot of times as hearing people, or just people period, not even about hearing people period, we are uncomfortable or afraid of things that we do not know about. Yeah. And a lot of times people's reactions are, well, I've never hung around a deaf person. I've never hung around a white person. I've never hung around a black person, so I don't know how to interact with them. Right. And my response is always, you understand people because you've been around people, or did you grow up around apes?
Right.
If you grew up around people, then you know how to interact with them. We understand that if there's barriers, there can be difficulty. But at the end of the day, that person is a person first, way before they're black,
right?
Way before they're white, way before they're deaf, way before they're hearing, and so on and so on. We're a person first, and we all understand courtesy. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So that was really powerful. Well, I'm all out of questions, and I'm sure like the video is going a little long. I don't like to have long videos because I know viewers have ADD, short attention spans when watching talk videos. So like I mentioned earlier, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. My Instagram is Hands for Ears. My Twitter is Hands for Ears, and it's the number 4. So go ahead and check me out. Go ahead and follow. Thank you so much, Tarek, for coming.
My pleasure.
Don't forget to check out his photography site.
Yes, remember my Instagram, Photography by Tarek, Tarik.
All of our information will be at the bottom of this video. See you guys next time. Thanks.
Peace.